Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of your favorite Ravens YouTube channel and favorite Ravens podcast, talking Ravens all day, every day with Justin P. This is episode 11 for the YouTube channel, and for the audio podcast, that's season one, episode 15. You can listen to that on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio. Basically, anywhere you get your music and podcast stuff from, just type in Talking Ravens all day, every day podcast. List of available platforms. Today, as you see, I got a very special guest. He's one half for the Locked On Bucs podcast. It's all 32 teams have this podcast series Locked On. So, everybody, let's give a warm welcome to the show, Mr. James Yarcho.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. Excited to talk about another Amazon Prime game. They haven't been too stellar so far, so hopefully the Bucs and Ravens don't disappoint, and Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit aren't sitting there trying to escape as fast as possible.
Tell everybody a little bit about the Locked On Bucs podcast real quick.
Yeah, David Harrison and I have been doing Locked On Bucs, I think, for, like 6 years now. So we've been with the Locked On Network pretty much since they started. We joined a little bit later, took over for a host that left, and the Locked On Network has been fantastic. It's really exploded. Like you said, we have shows for all 32 NFL teams. On top of that, we have Locked On NFL, which is all encompassing of the biggest stories in the NFL. And then there's shows for every baseball team, basketball team, hockey team. There's a lot of college shows. It's really grown and expanded. So if you're a fan of anything, chances are you could find a Locked On show that pertains to that, and the format's fantastic. You're talking less than 30 minutes, 5 days a week, so it's perfect for your commute to or from work. It's a great time being part of that network. I'm really proud of the work that we've done.
Yeah, I'll definitely go check that out. I got his links in the description, the YouTube, Twitter, the whole nine. Everybody, it's my co-host at the bottom, AJ. Go ahead, AJ, do your thing.
What's going on, y'all? It's a little late, but I'm here. First and foremost, as always, I want to thank JP for getting this together. Got a guest on here, James right here. We're going to get it in today. Want to shout out to Brian Murray, Chris Wright, Jeff Ford, and Rick Baca for always checking us out. And we're going to jump into it today.
All right, James, you're the guest. So just start off. We just how, let's just preview this matchup. So what are you looking for? What's going to stand out to you in this game tomorrow night?
I think the biggest thing, at least from the Buccaneers side, is the injuries. You have a Buccaneers defense now that does not have their number one corner in Carlton Davis. They don't have their number 2/number 3, depending on the formation, that corner in Sean Murphy-Bunting. But the biggest loss, honestly, in this game particularly, is Antoine Winfield Jr. Of course, he's a young guy. He's an incredible talent. He's a fiery leader, but he's also so versatile that against a quarterback like Lamar Jackson that can take off and run, that can throw the ball accurately and with as much velocity as he does, and create so many plays, losing a guy like Antoine Winfield Jr., who can drop back in coverage, who can come up to the box and help prevent Lamar from breaking off these big runs, who can blitz from the slot, does all of these things so well. The loss of Antoine Winfield Jr. is really going to handicap this Buccaneers defense in their ability to contain Lamar both as a runner and as a passer. Now, you still have Mike Edwards, who's fantastic. You still have Keanu Neal, who has stepped up really well in the absence of Logan Ryan. But Antoine Winfield Jr. brings that something special, that something extra. He's the third leading tackler on the team this year, behind Devin White and Levante David. So losing him is a massive blow to a defense that's already reeling from back-to-back losses to Pittsburgh and Carolina.
Oh, man. Interesting. Go ahead, AJ. Floor is yours.
This game's going to be interesting because, like you said, they depleted, on defense, mainly in the secondary. So I feel like we got to take advantage of that. I just seen us today that Calais Campbell is out, which to me is good and bad because I want to see these young guys get some reps in. I think he was playing too many snaps to begin with. So it's kind of good he can get some rest, let the young guys step up and get in there, and they can go to work. I'm excited to see Tyler Linderbaum go against Vita Vea. That's what I want to see. It start in the trenches up front, and if we're gonna run the ball, he got to let it be known, like, you just ain't going, bully me around. Like that's a matchup that I'm real excited to see. Of course, we know the receivers that they have. Mike Evans, Julio Jones, Chris Goodwin, and our former first round pick Rashad Perryman. So that is speed. You talking speed going down the field. So corners got to be able to cover. Safety's got to be able to to cover. It's play action. Mike Evans can go deep, open, get open on the top. Julio Jones, I'm not sure if he was practicing or he was hurt. I'm not sure, but as just a veteran receiver, we all know what Julio's capable of. When healthy, like I said, they got some speedsters. The main thing is, we got to apply pressure. Pass rush. Justin Houston came back, helped us out a lot. Hopefully, Dafe Away can give us a little pressure. And let's not forget Leonard Fournette, on the offensive side. Malik Harrison, once again, that's a big back. I feel like he needs to start at middle linebacker for us. If I'm not mistaken, I think the Bucs are last in the league at running. Are they last in the league at running? So,
Yeah.
with Calais out, that's a chance to see what these young guys bring to the table. I think we might bring up Isaiah Mack from the practice squad, but I don't think we really need him. You got Brent Irvin, Travis Jones, Justin Matabike, um, JPP. He can stand up or put his hand in the dirt, and it's a revenge game. You got two players. I don't know if Deshaun Jackson's gonna play this game, but JPP feel like he got something to prove. So I believe the pressure gonna come.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man. Yeah,
there's no question that the pressure is going to come, and I know JPP is going to look to eat against an offensive line that's struggled. Now, Luke Gedeke, of course, he's going to be out. The rookie guard that has struggled throughout the year, he's out with an injury, so Nick Leverett is going to come in. But you bring up, Leonard Fournette. Leonard Fournette has scored a touchdown in 5 straight games against AFC opponents. But the Buccaneers are currently on pace after starting off 2-0 and averaging over 120 rushing yards a game. They are on pace now to be the worst rushing offense in NFL history. They are averaging 64.4 rush yards per game. The worst of all time were the San Diego Chargers. I think it was in 2000, averaging 66 yards per game. So the Bucs are only running the ball, designed runs, 25% of their snaps over the course of the last, 5 weeks. And when they do run, it doesn't look effective. So it's almost kind of a pick your poison. Do you want to stay committed to the run and try to continue to let Leonard Fournette and rookie Rachaad White, who's really started to emerge as kind of a viable threat out of the backfield, do you want them to continue to wear down the defense so you can break the running game open late in the game? Or are you putting yourself in a situation now where the game script is forcing you to throw the ball like you had to do against the Kansas City Chiefs, like you had to do, in some of these other games? Tom Brady threw 52 passes in back-to-back weeks when they've completely abandoned the run. So that's going to be a really important part. You point out that Calais Campbell is out with the illness, but do the Bucs have enough push up front to be able to open up those running lanes for somebody like Leonard Fournette? And over the past couple of weeks, I have to say, no, they absolutely don't. They have to find a way to get the run game going. And I love what I've seen out of Rachaad White, but the game scripts have not allowed for the Buccaneers to really stay committed to the run the way they said they wanted to.
I agree with both of you guys. Definitely, James, like you said, Leonard Fournette is definitely been getting in the end zone a lot, and that's one thing we have to do a better job is stopping the run. Joe Mixon went over 100. Saquon had like 80 yards, I believe. Chubb and the Hunt, I don't think they got 100, but at times during those games they gashed, especially the last drive when they scored. Man, Nick Chubb just took over, so we definitely have to make that an emphasis of stopping the run because although the Bucs are pass-oriented offense, they know, they're not going to want Brady to throw the ball 50 times and keep getting hit, especially at age 45. So they're going to lean on, like you said, Rachaad White, Leonard Fournette. So our interior defensive lineman, like you said, no Calais Campbell, AJ. So Travis Jones, Matabike, and Roger Washington, those guys, and Brent Irvin got to rise up to the challenge and make the Bucs offense one dimensional. Like you said, it got some injuries up there. Is Ryan Jensen playing tomorrow, James? Is he playing tomorrow?
No, there's no update as to when Ryan Jensen is going to be back. I do think the offensive line gets an upgrade, obviously, as soon as Jensen comes back, because there aren't too many setters in the NFL like Ryan Jensen, right? But it upgrades across the board because I think, again, this is my opinion, my thought process. When Ryan Jensen returns, Robert Hainsey has played well at center in Jensen's absence. But he was a guard for Notre Dame, and he's learning center as a member of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He had never played center before. So if Jensen comes back sooner rather than later would be the hope. But I think at the earliest, you're still looking at a December return. If you can slide Robert Hainsey over to that left guard position, all of a sudden this offensive line is exponentially better than what it's been with Luke Gedeke and Nick Leverett kind of taking turns now all of a sudden at the guard position. Like I said, Leverett's going to get the start because Gedeke is out with the injury. But last week against the Panthers, they were doing a guard by committee where it was almost first and third quarter was Luke Gedeke, and then second and fourth quarter is Nick Leverett. And that's not the way to operate an offensive line. These guys have to get into a rhythm. They have to build that trust with one another. They have to work in tandem. You have 5 guys that have to work as one, all trusting that they're going to do their jobs. You can't do that when you're swapping guards in and out the way you do receivers or corners or running backs. It just doesn't work that way. So I hated that aspect of the game against the Panthers. I'm glad that Nick Leverett is getting the start and is going to play the entire game. Obviously, I don't want to see guys get hurt, but not having that temptation there with Gedeke being out with his injury is probably going to be more beneficial for the Buccaneers than if Gedeke was active and they were doing this committee nonsense that they did last week.
Yeah, like the offensive line is one place you don't want to have guys rotating in and out. Like it's just they got to be one chain linked together. They got to be a cohesive unit. Like so, yeah, you definitely don't want to keep plucking guys in and out of there. So our edge rushers gotta get home too. Like you said, JPP. Hopefully he has a little bit of, a little chip on his shoulder. I know he said everything good on that end, but hopefully he still got a little I'm gonna show you guys why I still, why you shouldn't let me go. So hopefully he played with a little edge. Adafi Owe, hopefully he's getting better and better. He just has to finish. He gets to the quarterback, but he has to bring him down. Like he got good grades and run, gets to run and stuff like that. And then I think he's top 5 in pass rush win. So he's winning, but he just has to finish. And then, like I said, you got Devon Kennard, who played pretty well against the Browns Sunday. We just signed him off the practice squad. He was with the Giants. And then you got guys like who else we got rushing the pass? Justin Houston, of course. He had a big game, 2 sacks. The savvy veteran. And then the inside linebackers, they gotta be on their game. Patrick Queen had an amazing game Sunday. I think it was because Ray Lewis was there. He gave him a little extra little support to come play behind him. So and Malik Harrison who I think should be starting. Me and AJ say this every show. Josh Bynes is, savvy veteran, but it's like you can't defeat Father Time. He doesn't have that lateral quickness to get sideline to sideline anymore. And then the back end, Marlon Humphrey, Marcus Peters, they gotta be on their best game because Mike Evans, although he had a wild drop, he's still one of the best receivers in the league. I mean, it happens. Everybody haven't played it one, but he's still one of the best receivers in the league. You got Godwin. I know he's still a little banged up, but he still can kill you. And you still got Julio and Russell Gage and all those guys like that. Like, the Bucs still have weapons that can still kill you, regardless of them being on the 2-game leading streak. Let's back to you, James.
Yeah, well, and Julio's going to be a game-time decision. He hasn't played since the game against the Kansas City Chiefs, but with Russell Gage out due to a injury on that front, even if Julio plays, a player that Ravens fans need to keep an eye on is the emerging rookie tight end, Cade Otton. Cade Otton, who has kind of filled in now for the injured Cameron Brate. Brate missed a game with a concussion, came back against the Steelers, suffered a neck sprain. Otton has become a reliable target for Tom Brady. He hit Otton for a huge gain against the Panthers on that Gronk seam route that they love to run. And the fact that he didn't become the tight end 1 until after Brate went down, he has as many catches on the season as Kyle Pitts already. So he's become a guy that Tom Brady likes to focus in on. He's a guy that Brady is starting to trust to move the chains on third down situations, and he is becoming a legitimate threat outside of Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and Leonard Fournette and Rachaad White. And one of the things that the Panthers did so well against the Buccaneers was they weren't going to let Brady dump the ball off to the running backs. And that's where a lot of these yards and a lot of these extended drives have come from, is dumping the ball off to Lenny, dumping the ball off to Rachaad White and letting them make plays in space, picking up 6, 7, 8 yard chunks. Well, the Panthers completely took that away. So Brady looked to Cade Otton, especially on the drive where they finally got into the red zone, only came away with a field goal. But Otton had targets on 3 consecutive plays. He had 2 catches, of those 3 targets, finished with 4 catches on 5 targets as the second leading receiver for the day. So it's not a name you've heard a lot this season, but that's because he was kind of behind Cameron Brate. Now he is the guy, and he's starting to get more and more involved. So another threat, especially over the middle, right at the sticks, is going to be Cade Otton. And I'm really excited for the future of Cade Otton. He looks tremendous.
Go ahead, AJ.
Yeah, with that being said, I feel like this possibly could be the game where we see, Cal Hamilton get some time. Show us why we drafted you number one. In the first round. With our pick. Show us what you could do. You got the length. You just got to get out there and show it to us. We can. You got the size to cover a tight end 1-on-1, but we need to see it. So I feel like, this possibly could be the game where we could see a little bit more of him. Because like I said, we know what they have for as weapons when it comes to throwing the ball. And those routes out there to the flats, like you said, to the running backs and all of that, particularly, we haven't been doing too good defending that. I believe the Giants gassed us with a couple of those. The Patriots, and even Cincinnati, it was some screen plays that they had going out there to the flats or to the running back. Man, some of them got some big games on it, but we just got to play disciplined football. And speaking of tight ends, I heard Mark Andrews may be questionable. I believe he's going to play, but we'll see. But I believe he's going to play. Mark is not too injury prone, but we just got to play disciplined football, and I think it starts up front. And what I'm hoping is I want him to play, but if he doesn't play, then we really can see what Greg Roman can do with this offense. Because I feel like if you take Mark Andrews out of the picture, then now you really have to show us what plays that you have designed for these wide receivers that we have on this roster. So if he can't go, then we need Roman creativity needs to step up. But I believe he's going to go. As always, I want to shout out my boy Patrick Ricard, Devin White and Levante David. He going to give a couple of pancakes there. It's just no linebacker in the league can just compete up against him 1-on-1 coming in the hole. But we just got to play disciplined football, and it is Tom Brady. That's just what it boils down to.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jack.
I was just going to say, yeah, I mean, Brady's still throwing the ball really well. He is having overall a relatively good season. It's just this offense tends to stall in the red zone, and that's been their biggest bugaboo, right? It's been converting less than 30% of third downs. It's, converting on less than 30% of red zone opportunities. So yeah, he has over 2,000 yards. He's on pace for nearly 5,000 yards, but 16 touchdowns. And you can't have that if you're going to be successful in the NFL. And this team is staring a third consecutive loss in the face, something that Brady hasn't been a part of since 2002. And you take a look at you mentioned Devin White and Levante David. Levante is one of the few Buccaneers players on this defense that has faced Lamar Jackson before in his career, and he had a really solid game. And Devin White it's amazing how complementary and opposite Devin White and Levante David are. Levante David this season has been the model of consistency. He is the sideline to sideline guy. He's always there. He doesn't miss tackles. He gets the ball carrier, has major plays, but they're not splash plays. Devin White has the takeaways. He has the sacks. He has the big splash plays, but he's also the guy that doesn't cover Najee Harris, inside the 10-yard line for a walk-in touchdown and Kenny Pickett's first career touchdown pass. He's the guy that misses the tackle and Deontay Foreman goes off for 60 yards on a run. So it's hit and miss with Devin White, but with Levante David, he is going to be a crucial part of this game, a la Derek Brooks spying Michael Vick back in the Buccaneers heyday, in 2002, the only defense that could shut down Michael Vick because of Derek Brooks' intelligence, speed, and discipline to spy Vick, not allow him those massive breakout plays that he has. I think that that's going to be the Levante David assignment in this one. He is going to be the guy that has to make sure Lamar Jackson isn't doing what Lamar Jackson does. And it's going to be on Devin White to, make those splash plays, but not make the mistakes. And that's a tall task. I love Devin White. He's one of my favorite players on this football team. He is my son's favorite player. My son wears 45 on his hockey team because he loves Devin White so much. But you can't have the mistakes when you're out there saying, I want to be the first $100 million linebacker, and you make such terrible mental errors. So Devin White's going to have to buckle down and really focus and keep his head in the game if the Bucs are going to have a chance to win this.
Yeah, that's an interesting inkling you just put there, like what you said, Michael Vick and Derek Brooks. I remember that year. That was like the Bucs shut him down twice. He couldn't do nothing. So and Devin White has that similar ability as a Derek Brooks. Not gonna put him in the Hall of Fame just yet. I know you're gonna say the same too, but he has that similar skill set. So yeah, he definitely can run around. And it's definitely going to be a thing. We got to definitely make sure those guys are accounted for on blitzes because tall Bowles love to bring pressure. And, Lamar and the Ravens offense have struggled against people who play like cover zero or tight man and stuff like that. So you're going to have to find a way to be able to beat that and counter that. So the receivers like Rashad Bateman, I know he's nursing an injury, but he has to be able to get open. Devin Duvernay, he's been playing pretty well for us. He has to be able to get open. James Prochet, Tylen Wallace, like Sean Jackson. I don't know if he's going to go or not because I don't know if he had enough time to learn the playbook. But then Mark Andrews, because I know Todd Bowles is going to come into the game like, hey, we're going to double number 89 and make everybody else beat us. So, everybody else going to have to win their one-on-one matchups to, for the offense to be sustainable. And then Greg Roman's play calling on down and distance. If it's 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1, are you going to run the football? Are you going to pass? Like Gus Edwards had a mean game Sunday. First game back, 16 carries, 68 yards, but 4.3 yards a carry. So stick with the run game, which is going to take a lot of pressure off yourself and your quarterback. And then that's what open up play action pass. Go ahead, AJ.
Yeah, I agree with both of y'all. It's going to be, to me, the game is going to be a battle in the trenches. Who can win up front? Obviously, if Brady can get enough protection to throw the ball, then, it's going to be some big plays. We can. If our line could get a good push, open up some holes, and we can run, we can get some good plays in. Levante David, he kind of, when we played the Bills this year, I would say it's going to be kind of like Matt Milano when he was out there. He was just making big plays. Lamar was running, he was out there tackling, getting them to him, and all of that. So I can see similarities there a little bit. But it's going to be a game, like I said, the trenches. Like I'm just excited to see what Linderbaum going to do against Vita Vea. I mean, that's a big dude, man. He fast, he can move, and not to mention, who's the other guy? Is it Akeem Hicks, right?
Akeem Hicks has missed the last couple of games with a foot injury, but he is questionable to return this week. So this would be his first game in, I believe, 4 weeks. And that's kind of been another big problem with the Buccaneers. You've mentioned Vita Vea a couple times now. We know how fantastic Vita Vea can be and has been. But this Buccaneers defense has desperately missed Ndamukong Suh next to Vita Vea. Because what teams have done, especially with Hicks being out, is they've removed Vita Vea from the play entirely. They focus all their energy on keeping Vita Vea at bay and then saying, beat us with William Golston, beat us with Raheem Nunez-Roches, beat us with the rookie Logan Hall. And the Bucs haven't done it. So there's been no fear that if they put 2-3 guys on Vita Vea, that somebody else is going to make a play in that interior. And it's been left all up to Shaq Barrett, Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, Carl Nassib, and Anthony Nelson. And they've done okay, but they're not getting that initial push up front to force the quarterback to move out of a collapsing pocket and right into the arms of one of those edge rushers. So if Akeem Hicks is back, it is a boost for the defensive line. They did play much better when he was on the field compared to when Nacho was out there or Logan Hall was out there. And don't get me wrong, those guys are good players, But right now, Logan Hall is in the developmental stage of his career, of his rookie season, where he's still learning the game, and he's good in a rotation, but he's not going to go out there play after play and all of a sudden be an Ndamukong Suh. Same thing with Nacho. He's great in a rotation and he can make some splash plays, but he's not an every down guy. They've desperately needed Hicks back to complement Vita Vea. So if he is able to go, it's a massive boost to this defensive line and maybe just kind of the injection that this defense needs to start to get back on track. Now, of course, that's going to be really difficult when you're missing Carlton Davis, Antoine Winfield Jr., Sean Murphy-Bunting, but it's a start. And if they can contain Lamar Jackson and not give him a ton of time to see the field, force him into some early throws, throw off some timing, and maybe prevent him from busting off these big chunk runs, then it's going to be a little bit easier when you're missing half your secondary.
What, AJ?
Yeah, it's gonna be if he is back, that's just gonna be like you said, just extra weight up front that we gotta account for, and just push. The good thing is Stanley is back. At left tackle, he looks good. I don't think to me he should be on a pitch count no more. This last game they did put Patrick McCarry in for a couple of plays, but that's our Iron Man right there. He can play any position on the offensive line and fill in. I trust him to play any position, and when he gets in there, he just holds it down. He's just a hard worker. And I even seen him over there. If I'm not mistaken, JP, I think Morgan Moses went out a couple of plays the last game, and he played right tackle a little bit. Patrick McCarry. Um, I'm not sure what that was about. But we just got to win up front. I mean, that's what the ball, especially if Akeem Hicks is back. Vita Vea, if we can avoid him and just the counter trades that we do, pulling the guards and all of that, and run style on the opposite side, quarterback powers, or all of that stuff. We just got to make it happen. And like I said, Patrick Ricard, he's always looking to hit somebody. I don't care who it is, defensive lineman, linebacker, safety. Once he gets his hands on you, he's taking you out of the picture, or you're going to the ground. But I like to see more. Since the secondary for the Bucs won't be at full capacity, I want to see these receivers, like you said, JP. We need to win one-on-one. I want to see Isaiah Likely get involved a little bit more in the passing game. I want to see Bateman. I want to see Duvernay. I want to see Prochet. If Deshaun Jackson can go, sure. DeMarcus Robinson. We have wide receivers. It's just the creativity and the play caller is not it, and we need to open the playbook actually up and develop these wide receivers to get this route tree going. And I feel like with a secondary like this, let's see what we got. Let's give it a test. Let's see what we really have, because we're gonna need that later on down when it comes crunch time.
Agree. Like you said, Fossil Stanley, he definitely looks like he's back to his, he's back to his game shape. So I think you just go ahead and let him rock out. Because like I said, you got Shaq Barrett, who I know very well. Father's a great friend of mine, coach with him, so I know him personally. Yeah, you gotta make sure he's blocked and accounted for, man. That motor of his is just like, he's gonna keep coming. And like I said, Joe Tryon, like he's a kid I watched in college. I wanted him over Dafio Way. So I know a lot of them. I want, nothing against Double O. I think he's good, but I thought Joe Tryon was the better prospect coming out of college. But yeah, so you got to definitely make sure he's accounted for. Like you said, Logan Hall, those guys. Like I said, all those rookies. He's made his fair share of plays. Like in the Dallas game, he stopped the run real well. That's why Dallas couldn't really run the ball, and that's why you guys were able to open the 3 points. Like he did a lot of dirty work. That's not going to show up on a stat sheet per se. He's 6'6" long, so he can get his arms on a batted ball. So we definitely got to watch out for that. And like you said, Roman has to come with a creativity play call, like open up, throw some screens, run some more jet sweeps with Duvernay, send some more deep shots at the field. Because it seemed like after that Lamar missed Wallace and Duvernay against the Bengals, we haven't took no deep shots like that. Outside the one on the sideline when Duvernay caught it on Martin Emerson. Other than that, we need to push the ball down the field and just to put the hills on the defense. Let them know, like, hey, man, we're not going to just run. We're going to actually try to attack you vertically as well. You can go ahead, James.
I was just going to say, if Deshaun Jackson is active, I would go ahead and throw him in your DFS lineup, because and somebody can vet this, but I am very confident in saying every game Deshaun Jackson has played in against the Bucs since leaving the Bucs, he has a touchdown of over 40 yards or more. Just something to keep an eye on.
I picked that up. I know when he was with the Rams, he caught a big one against you guys and all that.
Oh yeah.
I think he scored twice that game. I'm not too sure, but he's still good for big plays. He's not going to be 100 catch guy. We know that, but he can still come in and get a couple catches underneath, take a 5-yard shallow cross and go 70 with it. Take a bubble screen, go 70. Still can probably return some kicks and punt. That speed is still there. So for him to be 35 years old, he still can contribute in that aspect. Like I said, we lost Hollywood Brown, so we don't really have a true burner. We have some guys that can get deep here and there, but not like where's Deshaun. He can get deep every single time he's on the field.
Yeah, and if he's lined up against a Zion McCollum or a D Delaney, and there's no Antoine back there, there's no Keanu Neal back there, it might be pretty easy for him to get past everyone in that secondary, because if you line up Jamel Dean on him, sure, that's great. But now you got Zion or Delaney or Gardner lining up on Duvernay and Bateman. And so it's Deshaun Jackson, if he's active, which would make sense to me, even if it's just, he's got like a 12 play package that he would go on the field for. It can unlock a lot of things against a defense that is missing so much of their starting secondary that it can expose the Buccaneers in a real quick hurry. This is still a defense that's only giving up 17.7 points per game, and they gave up a 40-burger to the Kansas City Chiefs. So if you're only giving up 17.5 points per game, there's no reason that you need to be 3-4, but this defense is still very susceptible to the big play, whether it's a run or a pass. They've given up some really explosive plays throughout the season outside of the Dallas game and the Packers game. Of course, the Chiefs, they lit them up. You saw the explosive runs by the Panthers last week. So they can be exposed. A lot of big plays for the Steelers offense even. So Deshaun Jackson can kind of open things up again, even if it's just on a small package of plays. It would really make a lot of sense and really help out the Ravens Thursday night if they do go ahead and activate him for that situation.
Good.
Question, James. Do y'all still have tight end Kyle Rudolph?
Yeah, Kyle Rudolph is still on the team. He's got a couple of catches on the year, but he's been a game day inactive for most of the season. Now, when Cameron Brate missed with the concussion, and then last week with the sprained neck, and then again tomorrow or Thursday, Cameron Brate will still be out, so Kyle Rudolph will be active for those games. But it's been all Cade Otton. Ko Kieft is the other tight end there. He's got a couple of catches on the season, but he's kind of been that guy that lines up as a lead blocker in the backfield for Lenny or for Rachaad White. He can still catch the ball. I'll give him that, but he's utilized more as a blocking tight end. Kyle Rudolph, again, very low snap count, even when he is active. I think he had one catch on one target against the Panthers, and then it was against, I can't even remember now. There was another game that he played in. I think he had one catch on two targets. So it's still been very much the Brate and Otton show throughout the first 7 games.
Okay, I was just wondering that because I know he's a veteran, and sometimes when we play, we'll get a player who sneaks in there like that, and they'll gash us either for a big play, a couple of yards, and we're just like, where did that come from? So, and he is a veteran. I mean, good tight end. I like him, but I had thought about that, and I forgot he was with the Bucs, but. That's just something to keep in mind. I think JP, he is a veteran, and sometimes we do give those type of players, they gashes, they catch sneak passes from it. I mean, this is Brady too. Trick plays and all. I mean, you never know. All of that is incorporated. You're going against a mastermind right here. So it's unique to see how they can use stuff and do stuff. And Brady can call his own shots. He can say what personnel he wants on the field or what he wants to do and all of that. So that's something to definitely pay attention to.
I totally agree. Like you said, I remember a couple of years ago, they got us with a flea flicker with Amendola and all that. So
Yep.
Tom Brady definitely is a mastermind of having a trick up his sleeve. So I wouldn't be surprised. Byron Leftwich, hell of a coach. I think he's going to be a fantastic head coach when his time comes. He's definitely going to have some stuff to try to attack it. I just want to see if Mike McDonald could combat that. Like, is he going to be able to match up with them and don't play so much zone? Like, we play way too much zone for my liking. Like, Like Jacoby Brissett had time to throw the ball because we sat there and played zone instead of just manning up and rushing forward. He just sit there and played cover three basically the whole game. They was picking us apart with Njoku underneath, and then Donovan Peoples-Jones caught the big one on us. Amari Cooper caught a big one. Luckily, it was pass interference, so they got called back. But we got it. We got a bit. Mike McDonald has to be on his A game, man, because Byron Leftwich is definitely creative. And like you said, Leonard Fournette can kill you in the screen game too. He can catch up the backfield, and they like to do delay draws with him. So it's just little stuff like that we got to be prepared for. You go ahead, James.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for this Buccaneers offense, they haven't scored a touchdown in the first quarter this season. And I don't know for sure, but I can't imagine that Tom Brady has gone through 7 games of a season without scoring a touchdown in the first quarter at any point in his career. So Byron Leftwich, I'm a big fan of his. I'm not a big fan of what he's been doing so far this season. It seems like they're not going to their bread and butter. They're not scheming this offense to their strengths. It's very, very reminiscent of the Dirk Cutter offense that we saw in Tampa a few years ago, where this is what we're going to do because this is the scheme, and it doesn't matter if it's working or not. We're going to keep doing it. And I think that's where a lot of the frustration is building for this Buccaneers team and for the Buccaneer fan base, of course, is, continuously running the ball with Leonard Fournette behind a subpar rookie left guard on short distance situations. They went for it on 3rd and 1, ran right behind him, gained nothing, then ran a toss on 4th and 1 and got hit for a loss. It's things like that have this offense kind of out of sorts. You're seeing a lot of passes by Tom Brady at the feet of receivers. You had an opportunity against the Pittsburgh Steelers where Russell Gage was open in the end zone and Brady threw the ball and it was really, really low. Gage tried to, fall down and make the catch and save it, but it was a bad pass. And that was a pass that would have given the Buccaneers the lead in that game. So everything's kind of out of sorts. You wonder how much of it is the tentativeness because of a struggling offensive line and trying to get the ball out of Brady's hands a little bit faster because the protection isn't there the way it was the last 2 years. Maybe it's Brady's internal clock that's sped up a little bit because he knows he's going to get hit. So he's leaving some of these passes short. The timing routes have been thrown off. Or are we seeing the effects of Bruce Arians no longer having his hand in the offense a little bit, which, he wasn't, from what we understand, he wasn't a huge part of the play calling or the offensive game planning. That was, Byron and Brady working together. But every once in a while, it would be a situation where it's like, this is what I've seen, Byron. Why don't you go ahead and call this play in this situation? And he would do it, and it would be, a huge gain, or it would be a touchdown or things like that. So, I wonder if, since Bruce has always kind of been there as the mentor and the guy to bounce something off of in these game situations, with that not being there, Byron is kind of going through the growing pains that most offensive coordinators go through in their first year. But since, he's been an offensive coordinator for a little while, but he's done so with BA there, that this is kind of his first year to learn these things all on his own. And that's kind of been the effects of why we've seen this offense stagnate and struggle so much. If there again, there's no reason you should be 3-4 when your defense is one of the top 5 scoring defenses in the NFL, allowing just over 17 points a game. When you have Brady, you have Mike Evans, you have Chris Godwin, you have Leonard Fournette, there's no excuse for it at this point. So something needs to happen to spark this offense. I don't know what it is at this point.
Go ahead, AJ.
Yeah, just taking all that in, it sounds like us. We talk about it all the time. Greg Roman's tenure is up in Baltimore. He only has 15 plays that he runs max. He only likes having tight ends on the field. We always talk about it. Like fans and people say we want wide receivers, but we have wide receivers. We don't use them. It's just over and done with. He shows that he can't adjust in critical, crucial situations to sustain drives or to get points. The play calling is it's too basic. It's vanilla. It's not. It just like it crumbles and it falls apart. Some of the plays that he calls, they don't make sense. And for instance, like in the Cincinnati game, Devin Duvernay looked great. I mean, he looked like we was like, oh yeah, and then you just shy away from him. Like you don't give him the plays, you don't use them properly, you don't use them correctly. So it's like when you're hot, he goes away from it. We get down to the red zone. We have a 300-pound fullback, and we just punch the ball in. He wants to go down there and throw the ball. It doesn't make sense. So I definitely understand what you're saying as far as the growing pains with the offense. In our situation, it's just to me, Roman's time is up because the plays are still the same. We've see it each and every week out. The 15 plays max. It just it's not making sense. It's too basic, and as a fan, I love the Ravens, but as a guy who understands and studies and knows football, his time is up. I mean, that's just what it is. It's time to move on.
I completely agree. I said this all the time. Like it's just it gets stagnated sometimes. Like situational play call. Like the run is working. Like Gus was getting 4 or 5 yards a clip. Then you go away from him. Get it? I get it. You don't want to overwork him because he's coming back from injury, but still he's hot. Like if he don't come to you and say, "Hey, I need a blow," let him roll, ride the bus. Like every time he got a run, he fell forward for 5 yards. Like Justice Hill, he ran pretty hard. But we don't the fumble. We don't fumble if Gus is in the game because Cleveland could have came out and failed to score. Luckily, we blocked the field goal. What I mean, the controversial whether he moved or not. That's you can debate that all you want, but if we score right there like we supposed to, they don't even have a chance. Like because we're up by 10 at that point with literally 2 minutes to go. So like I said, it's just stuff like that. And like he just has to do a better job with his situational play calling, especially in the red zone. Like I know we have one of the best kickers, but good golly, I know he'd rather be kicking. I know he'd rather be kicking extra points than field goals. It's like, we got to get 7. That's going to be big in this game. Getting 7 versus getting 3. That's going to be big. That's a 4 point. That's a 4 point. 4 point point differential. So, if like I said, if y'all guys are scoring, getting touchdowns, and we kicking field goals, that could be a problem. So we definitely have to score touchdowns in the red zone. Go ahead, James.
Well, first and foremost, if Justin Tucker is not a first ballot Hall of Famer, we riot. I firmly believe that guy above all kickers in NFL history deserves to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's absolutely incredible. I know I talked about Cade Otton and what he has brought to this offense, and he's somebody to watch. And Justin, earlier you had mentioned Brashad Perryman.
That was AJ.
Oh, that was AJ. My bad. AJ, you had mentioned Brashad Perryman, and I do believe that Perryman, with Gage out and Julio being a game time decision, even if Julio is active, he's going to be on a snap count. He's probably only going to play 10 to 15% of snaps, probably be out there in a couple of red zone situations, maybe a third and medium situation just to move the sticks. Brashad Perryman can absolutely be an X factor. Tom Brady likes Brashad Perryman. Brashad, he had missed the majority of training camp with an injury. And I was actually advocating on Locked On Bucs that Brashad Perryman should not make the football team. Scotty Miller should not make the football team. Tyler Johnson should make the football team based on what I saw in training camp, what I saw in preseason. With the best ability is what? Availability, right?
Availability.
Perryman wasn't available, but big game against Buffalo last season. Who was the guy that broke it off in overtime that Tom Brady trusted? He took it to the house. It was Brashad Perryman. As recently as week 2 against the New Orleans Saints, when things were tight, shortly after the Evans-Lattimore brawl, which can we get a boxing match between those two for charity at some point?
They can't stand each other. That right there is like they really can't.
I want to see Mike Evans knock that dude out cold so badly. Anyway, it was Brashad Perryman that caught the touchdown pass from Tom Brady to put the Buccaneers up for good. So going up against his former team, he's going to be involved with Russell Gage out. Again, I'm not saying he's going to be out there 75, 80, 85% of snaps. He might be a 50% snap count guy. But when he is out there, Tom Brady will go to him. He does trust Perryman to catch the ball, does trust him to get through the secondary, break off big runs, create short gains into explosive plays. So, yeah, I don't know what it is about the city of Tampa and Brashad Perryman. He struggled in Baltimore, comes to Tampa, plays great, leaves Tampa, stinks again, comes back to Tampa, he's fantastic again. I don't understand it. It must be something in the water, but Brashad Perryman can absolutely be the guy to have that, that huge play, that huge breakthrough moment for the offense to really get them back on track. And I will certainly be keeping my eye on him on Thursday.
Yeah. Herman definitely. Like I said, I was huge on him. Like I felt like we didn't give him a fair shake because, like I said, the injuries and his illness with his dad, a lot of things played to him not to be able to develop the way we wanted. But when he did play for us, he made big plays, like you just said. Like Steve Smith last year, he had like 600 yards receiving. So that's only playing 7 games. So I felt like that warned him another year. But he went on to, do good with you guys. He had a couple spurts with the Jets. Him and Joe Flacco had reunited and had some good games. But yeah, he definitely is a game changer. That speed still has that 4.2 speed, so we definitely got to make sure Marlon Humphrey knows him very well. They play, he was here with him for 2 years, so he's seen that speed in practice, so he knows what to look out for. Mike Evans, we definitely got to make sure he's in check. Like I said, at any given time, he can get you 12 catches, 150 yards like it's nothing because he's 6'5", and he can jump up the gym, and he got enough speed to get behind you. So, like you said, Cade Otton, I don't want to sleep on him. I watched him in college, pretty shifty tight end. So, and we always had problems with tight ends. So Patrick Queen and those guys gotta make sure they cover the tight end. So, we're getting to some matchup position groups. So we'll start with the Bucs offensive line against the Ravens defensive line. You can start, James.
It's going to be a tough task for the Bucs offensive line as it has been all season. Like I mentioned, Luke Gedeke is out. Nick Leverett is in. I will say that when Leverett was in against the Panthers, the protection seemed to be a little bit better. But the poor play of the offensive line, as I mentioned earlier, has caused Brady some problems, both in terms of being pressured, being hit, but to that internal clock being sped up in his mind, throwing off timing, throwing off his accuracy. So the Buccaneers desperately in this game, if they're going to have a chance to win, have to come out in their very first possession and make a statement against some very talented Ravens pass rushers, and they have to be able to manhandle them, whether that's opening up a lane for a big chunk run by Leonard Fournette or Rachaad White, a 7, 8, 9 yard chunk. If it's giving Brady 4.5, 5 seconds to find Mike Evans deep and trust that he's not going to drop a pass like he did against the Panthers, the offensive line has to set the tone. I'm not entirely confident that they can, but I think if they do, it's not only going to give the Buccaneers a boost in this game, it's going to give that offensive line the confidence moving forward into next week against the Los Angeles Rams that, hey, we really can do this. I know we've been getting our butts kicked up and down all season long, but we really can do this. And it all it takes is one statement drive, but that drive has to come early in the game because this team has now reached the point where as soon as something goes wrong, it's like they can't pull themselves out of it.
Okay. You up, AJ?
Well, I'm excited to see the young guys, without Calais Campbell out there. Of course, Travis Jones. You ain't on the snap count no more. When you hot, you stand in there. We ain't gonna rotate you in and out with Calais Campbell. Same thing with Justin Matabike, Broderick Washington. Let's see what we got because this is the future of if not for our team, if not re-signing, but just the future of the NFL period. So we need to see what we got. In these young guys. I'm looking forward to Travis Jones, pushing the pocket a little bit. I think Matabike is going to be key to this game. I think he gets in the backfield a lot. Shaq Mason is still at guard, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, Travis Jones, Justin Matabike, Brent Urban, who's a veteran who could play pretty much on every position on the line. It's gonna be some rotation, but I feel like these young guys, we really gonna see what they're capable of. And then it's bragging rights. You're a young guy, you can say, hey, look, man, I came in the league. Travis Jones is a rookie. I got a sack on Brady. It's bragging rights. It's just to talk about it and say what you can do. So it's gonna be interesting. But I'm looking forward to seeing them and just seeing how they handle things because it starts in the trenches on both sides of the ball. If you win in the trenches, you can win. You can just pretty much do whatever you want all night, and that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, what you just said, yeah, those, yeah, like I said, Travis Jones, Justin Metabike, and Roger Washington. After we lost Michael Parrish week one, we were like, man, what the hell are we gonna do at nose guard? Like, we were scratching our heads, but these young guys have stepped up with Calais Campbell leading the way as that godfather. Then we brought back Brent Urban. He's coming in there, he's fighting his tail off, competing. He doesn't rack up the stats, but he's in there. He's taking up space, freeing up guys. And then the edge rushers, because I still, they're part of the defensive line as well. They got to win their one-on-one matchups. Tristan Wirth, amazing tackle. Like, so Adafi Owe going to have to win his one-on-one with him. That kid can block his butt off. Athletic as hell. I think he jumped in a pool or did something like he flipped around. He did some amazing athletic stuff. I can't really, what I'm talking about, Jay. I just really can't just pinpoint it. But he's a freak of nature. And then Donovan Smith is still the left tackle, correct?
Yes.
So yeah, Justin Houston, them guys, they gotta win that matchup. Like you said, you got some issues going on inside with Ryan Jensen being hurt, like you said, Luke guarded the rookie. So we gotta be able to win those matchups, man. Make Brady get rid of the ball quick, and then we gotta, like I said, we gotta hit him. Don't hit him twiz or we get no 15-yard penalty because that's gonna hurt us. But we definitely gotta get pressure on because we all know Tom Brady don't like to get pressure in his face. He don't care about the outside pressure because he steps up in the pocket. But every time Brady has had issues, it's pressure up the middle. So that's what we gotta neutralize him, man. Okay, all right, let's go. The Bucs tight ends and receivers versus the Ravens secondary. You can start, James.
I think this is going to be a huge bounce back game for Mike Evans. In fact, on Locked On Bucs, ahead of every game, we do bold predictions. My bold prediction is that Mike Evans is going to have a 100% catch rate this week, making up for that huge drop against the Panthers. He had 9 catches on 15 targets against the Panthers. I think he's going to catch everything that comes his way. He is going to be determined to be a catalyst for this offense getting right. Outside of that, Chris Godwin's going to be Chris Godwin. He is the most talented wide receiver on this team. He is the most reliable tight end or wide receiver on this team. And of course, I've talked about Kate Otten numerous times so far, so I'm not going to rehash all of that. But the Ravens secondary is incredibly talented. It's going to be a massive challenge for this team being the Buccaneers, to get the offense going yet again. They have their own struggles. Going up against guys like Marlon Humphrey is going to be a problem. Marcus Peters, he's fantastic. I hope, look, my son is a diehard Notre Dame football fan. I love Kyle Hamilton. I don't want to hear his name one time, like at all Thursday. He could be great for the rest of the year, and that's fine. But I've watched Kyle Hamilton. I know what a phenomenal freak athlete that guy is, and the kinds of plays that he can make. I don't want to see him. I don't want to hear from him. I don't want to know that he's even a human being that exists on Thursday night. After that, go ham. I don't care. Because Kyle Hamilton is the kind of guy that can wreck a game for the opposing team single-handedly. He's just that freakishly talented. So it's going to be interesting to see the direction that they go. And as you guys have brought up, the Ravens struggle against tight ends. That could be the go-to guy early to kind of start to get in a flow and in a rhythm, finding Kate Otten, finding Kyle Rudolph, finding Kieft. And then, of course, you trust that Evans and Godwin and Perryman and all those guys are going to make plays. Hopefully Julio plays, but if it was up to me, I would have put him on the IR. You don't need Julio in October. You need to pull yourself out of this tailspin and then have a healthy Julio in December and January, if you could even make it that far. But at the NFC South, I don't know. They could be another one of those divisions where the winner has a losing record because it's weird.
Go ahead,
Physicality. We know what these receivers are capable of. There's nothing to hide. And then you got Tom Brady throwing the ball. Like you said earlier, JP, I want us to see us play man. I don't want us to see us play too much zone. I want Marlon Humphrey to be physical. You know what I'm saying? Get up in Mike's chest. Show him what it is. Marcus Peters was out there when we played Cincinnati. They was talking, Jamar Chase and all of them. Marcus Peters was waving safety help off. That's what I like to see. Like, you want to talk, you guys want to say that you did this and threw this many yards and this, that, and the third. Remember, I wasn't here when you guys did that. I don't need no help with no safety over the top. I'm going to show you where I'm an all pro corner. I want to see it. Far as safeties, Chuck Clark, I feel like, he probably dropped down a little bit this game, not too much. I feel like he'll hang high. But like I said earlier, if Cal Hamilton, I believe he got to get more time in this game. I mean, I like Geno Stone, but we need to see what we have. I feel like his snap counts for Cal, he needs more snap counts this game. And I'm not talking just special teams. He needs to be out there on the field and just show why we drafting. You have the length, you have the size. Now, if you need to hang over the top and just sit back there, I'm cool with that. Run sideline to sideline and show me that you can help out a corner if it's a zone and I do release and you can cover on tight ends and on wide receivers. Then of course you got Brashad Perryman, Brandon Stevens or Pepe command the slot. I'm confident in them. But you just got to cover. That's what it all boils down to.
I agree. Like you said, Marlon Humphrey and Marcus Peters, like I said earlier, they got to be on their best game. Like I said, Mike Evans, Godwin. Like I said, this team was just 2 years removed from winning the Super Bowl. I know it all saying like everything's falling down, James, but you guys are really just recently just won the Super Bowl. So,
Yeah.
and it was just in the NFC, well, about to be in the NFC Championship game again. So this is still a very talented football team. So, regardless of them losing two in a row, like you cannot sleep on that receiving core. Like you said, I know Perriman's out. You still got Jalen Darden, Tyler Johnson, Russell Gage. They still have a very, very deep skill position group. So we definitely got to challenge those receivers at the line of scrimmage. Give the pass rush time to get there because the pass rush can't get there in 1, 2 seconds if y'all just letting the guys just run free. So, challenge the receivers, man. Like I said, man, like give those hogs up front time to get at the Brady. And then when the ball's in the air, make a play on it. You know what I mean? Get your hands in there, deflect the ball. Don't be afraid to get no penalties called. We gotta play physical, man, for us to have a chance. All right, this last segment, we're gonna do our three keys to the game. We're gonna do our score predictions, then we'll be out. Go ahead, James. You start first.
With the three keys.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Then give us your score prediction. Yeah.
All right. So for the Buccaneers to win this game, the keys are number one, protect Tom Brady. We've talked about it throughout the entire show. You can't allow that pressure to get in Brady's face. He's fine when the pressure comes from the edges, and we know JPP is going to want to eat. He even said to the media that he has no ill will or no ill feelings towards the Buccaneers, but he wants to show them what they're missing this season. And I believe him because he's so good. But you have to protect, up front, up the middle for Tom Brady to have time to find these receivers and to start to get into a rhythm. Number two is you have to keep contain on Lamar Jackson. As I mentioned, I think that's going to be put a lot of that is going to be put on the shoulders of Levante David to kind of play that spy role. And you can't let Lamar beat you with your legs. The Buccaneers, you can look at the rankings, the defensive rankings, and they're still ranked pretty high is in terms of rush defense, but they've given up numerous explosive rushing plays this season. So it's like they hold you, and then boom, there's a 50-yard run, a 60-yard run, whatever the case may be. So Gus Edwards, I'm all aboard the Gus bus. I love Gus Edwards, but it's Lamar Jackson that is the dual threat, because if you let him break contain, he's either going to beat you with his legs or he's going to get you to bite, and he's going to find Mark Andrews over the middle, or he's going to find Rashad Bateman deep, whatever the case may be. You have to keep him in that pocket, force him into bad throws, or just freaking take him down. Finally, the third key is the Bucs have to be more efficient in the red zone and on third downs. Below 30% in both cases this season is inexcusable for an offense that has as much talent as they do. So you have to convert those third downs. You have to convert red zone opportunities into touchdowns and not field goals. And that is not something that we have seen from this team at all this season. So with all of that said, I will take the Ravens to win this one 31-21.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Being honest. Okay, go ahead, AJ.
My three keys is number one, discipline. Stay disciplined up front. Like I said, this is Tom Brady you playing against. No matter the age, just like him and LeBron, they're still able to play at a high level. I don't care how you look at it, what you might think of it, but they could turn it on at any second, and they've been around so many years. Like I said earlier, just watching passes out to the flats to Leonard Fournette going out there, catching the ball out in the flat and able to gash us for however many amount of yards. Covering tight ends, Patrick Queen. He arguably to me had his best game, if his career is a Raven, best game last week just in the Ravens uniform. Um, just show don't be inconsistent. Show me something. Keep it coming. That's what I want to see. That's what we want to see. And bring it on. So that's one. Two. I say it all the time. Teams prepare for number 8. They don't prepare for Greg Roman's offense. They prepare for Lamar Jackson. I need Greg Roman to come up with some plays that is just not his in the same plays they run week in and week out. I want to see these wide receivers get involved. Stop putting all your tight ends that you have on your roster out there and have them run routes down the field when we have wide receivers on the bench. I don't want to see Patrick Ricard on third down and in the slot, as a wide receiver. If you bring him in on third down, use him for pass protection. You got him back there with Lamar. Somebody breaks free, they're not going to want to go up against Patrick Ricard 1-on-1. So that's what I want to see, and I want to see this pass rush turn it on. JPP or Dafe Owe, Justin Houston. We got a rotation going in now. Devar Kennard. So now it's no excuses no more for Dafe Owe where you say, oh, well you been held, and, you out there so many snaps. No, it's no excuses. You have a rotation going on. Turn it on. Show us why we drafted you in the first round with that pick. Show us, that you mean something. I want to see it. Turn it on. Go out there and contain and get to Brady. Brady's not going to do a lot of running. We know he's going to be in the pocket. Go out there and get to him. Let's show us something. For me, I'm going to say it's going to come down to a field goal. Justin Tucker. I'm going to go 24-21. Ravens.
Okay. All right. Number one for me, no turnovers. We can't afford to turn the ball over against Tom Brady. It's just that blunt. It's just that simple. You can't give the greatest quarterback of all time a short field and more opportunities. Number two, create turnovers. We have to create turnovers. Whether it's a fumble, interception, whatever we have to do, man. We gotta get more out. We gotta get more possessions and get the ball back to Lamar so he can, score as many points as possible. Number three, field position and special teams. We have to be able to keep the Bucs on their side of the field. It's just that simple. And then we have to take our points. You know, stuff like that. We they can't go forward on fourth and down, 4th and 15, and 4th and 5. Take the points, man, play defense and trust your team. And the score prediction I'm going with, I think it's going to be a tight game because we're on a short week, we're on the road. I'm going to go 27-24 Ravens with Justin Tucker with a walk-off field goal. Well, everybody, that's it for today's episode. I'm going to go ahead and let James go ahead and have a closing remark, and AJ as well. Go ahead, James.
Well, to your point, to your three keys, the Buccaneers defense has not gotten a takeaway in the last 3 games. Tom Brady has not thrown an interception in his last 278 pass attempts. Just throwing that out there. We'll see which side, if either side can change that, at least on the Buccaneers side. But I think it's going to be an interesting game. It's going to be a difficult game, but we're at a point now. It's kind of a breaking point for both teams, right? Baltimore is looking for their first back-to-back wins of the season, and all of a sudden the Bengals have kind of resurrected their season. So there's a battle for the division there, and Baltimore can't afford to lose this one and then see Cincinnati turn around and beat the Browns and get that game lead in the division. For the Bucs, They're trying not to lose their third game in a row since 2019, and basically see this season completely go off the rails in a complete tailspin. So both teams have a lot to play for in this one, and I think it's going to be one of the few Thursday night games that is actually entertaining all season long.
What, AJ?
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I'm just ready. I'm excited. It's a short week. Both teams. Like you said, it's a must-win game for each team. We can say what could have happened, would have happened. For our records or whatnot, but we got to go out there and try to win. Same thing with the Buccaneers. It's a must-win game for both of us. Let's just go out there, play football, and just be consistent. No turnovers. Run the ball, run the ball. That's just run the ball. Let's just go out there and eat. Kenyon Drake, Justice Hill, Gus Edwards, just run the ball. That's just what I want to see. Run the ball, play action here and there, and just let these receivers eat. So that's just what I want.
Yeah, like you said, it's a must win. Like I said, you got a 4-3 team and a 3-4 team. So, either somebody's gonna be both teams gonna be 4-4 to this, or one team's gonna be 5-3, everyone's gonna be 3-5, unless there's a tie, of course. Then but yeah, we gotta win this the game so we can stay at least a half game ahead of the Bengals. Because I don't know what's gonna happen with them and the Browns. They should win that game because with with Jacoby Brissett playing quarterback, but you still want to handle your own business. I know the Bucs still want to keep track in their division because Carolina, if they win, and then I think if Atlanta lose or the Saints lose, they could be in first place by tiebreakers or whatever. So their divisions up for grabs too. So it's just going to, both teams it's going to just come down to who wants it the most. That's so everybody, make sure y'all check out James, Yarcho, and his co-host on Locked On Bucks. You subscribe to their channel. The links are in the description. Every Monday and Wednesday you can catch me and AJ on here 5:30 p.m. Eastern. We always record about an hour. Thank you guys, love you guys, and always make sure you guys trade talk Ravens all day, every day. I'm your host Justin P. and my co-host AJ Henson, and our special guest James Yarko from Locked On Bucks. We talk to you guys Monday 5:30 p.m. Eastern. Do the recap of this Thursday night game. Love you guys. Have an amazing Wednesday, and we'll see you guys Monday.
Right.